So, what is astrology? Is it the sun sign horoscope in the newspaper, or something more? There are many answers one can give. Perhaps the simplest is that astrology is the belief that something born in a moment of time has qualities of that moment of time. You can also describe astrology as a complex symbolic system based on a tradition that believes there's a correlation between the relative position of celestial bodies and terrestrial concerns. Various astrological techniques are used to interpret the meaning of that correlation and to provide information about personality, human affairs, and other terrestrial matters. To the skeptic, astrology is a silly and worthless superstition, a pseudoscience, claiming divination by the positions of the planets, the sun, and the moon. Well, let's take a look at what various astrologers have said about what astrology is and how it works. In 1477, Marsilio Ficino wrote that the sky can show many events without causing it is evident from the fact that evil, without any order, can derive from very good and ordered realities. So these things are foretold according to celestial positions, intended as signs and not as causes. A little later, in 1536, Paracelsus wrote, "Man is a microcosm, or a little world, because he's an extract from all the stars and planets of the whole firmament, from the earth and the elements, and so he is their quintessence." In order to grasp the true meaning of alchemy and astrology, it is necessary to have a clear conception of the inner relationship and identity of the microcosm and the macrocosm and their interaction. A little more recently, Dane Rudhyar wrote in 1974 that for the humanistic astrologer, a birth chart is a person-centered symbol. That is to say, it carries a message, the symbolic formulation of the individual's dharma. It suggests how he can best actualize the innate potentialities of his particular and unique selfhood. It is a symbol, a mandala, a logos, a word of power. Astrology seen from this point of view is a language of symbols. In 1987, Nicholas Campion wrote, "Astrology takes the changing patterns of the planets and stars and uses them to understand human life and events on Earth. Everything that happens in the heavens above can be taken as a sign of changes on the Earth below." Fundamental to this belief is an understanding that the entire universe is one gigantic whole in which all parts exist in a totally interdependent relationship with each other. This still leaves unanswered questions. Do inner states react to planetary happenings and relationships, or do planetary occurrences and aspects somehow create the inner responses? Is astrology merely a useful symbolism without any possibility of a scientific basis? Or is there something going on we do not yet understand? Now, astrology is an earth-based symbolic system. This means that all interpretation is based on the perspective of a specific location on the earth at a specific time. Astrology uses the time and place of your birth to discover information from three main groupings of symbols. The first is the sun, moon, and planets. They can be said to represent a set of principles or an archetypal energy. Now, the energy of the astrological planet is expressed and modified through the astrological sign in which the planet is located. The third group of symbols are the houses. The houses are based on the actual time of birth, and they are used to describe how these energies relate to different areas of life or fields of experience. Astrology is not just used to understand the individual. It's also used to determine how two people will get along with one another, to help understand the course of an illness, to help run a business or buy and sell stocks, to forecast the fate of a nation, to help with gambling picks, or even to pick a time for a battle in a war. Now, natal astrology focuses on the individual. It's used to discover something about the psychology of an individual and the cycles of his or her life. Horary astrology is a type of divination. It's used to find the answer to a question by constructing a horoscope for the moment that question was asked. Electional astrology is used to find the best time for an event or the best time to start an endeavor, such as a business. Mundane astrology focuses on world affairs or natural events. The natural branch is used to gain an understanding of natural or man-made disasters and geological events. Meteorological astrology is another variation of natural astrology and is used, for example, to predict the weather, timing for planting crops, or conditions for a sea voyage. The political branch of mundane astrology is used to make predictions about politics and government and the fate of nations, cities, and states. Astromapping techniques are used to identify significant locations and directions based on where you are in the world. Medical astrology has been used to make predictions about the areas of the body most likely to cause trouble, the course of a disease, or even the potential efficacy of different treatments. At the heart of all these branches of astrology is the astrological chart. The examples here are of a square chart, popular during the Middle Ages and still used by Vedic astrologers in India. Today, most Western astrologers use the circular chart as seen in this example. This particular chart is showing the most common type of circular chart based on a tropical or Earth-based zodiac. The signs of the astrological zodiac are not the same as the signs in the astronomical constellations. In tropical astrology, the sign Aries marks the first day of spring, Cancer, the first day of summer, Libra, the first day of fall, and Capricorn, the first day of winter. Each of the 12 signs are given exactly 30 degrees. You can think of this like the coordinate system on a map. The planets and houses are located in the chart based on their relative positions for a specific time and specific place. This is an example of a natal chart. This one is for Tiger Woods. His sun is in the astrological sign of Capricorn, a hard-working and ambitious sign that strives to reach the top. At the time of his birth, the astrological sign Virgo was rising in the east. This point is known as the ascendant and represents how we present ourselves to others. Tiger's Virgo ascendant shows that he has a perfectionist streak and appears as a modest and pleasant man who's methodical in his approach to his career. His moon, which represents the emotional side, shows a different side of Tiger. It's located in the freedom-loving sign of Sagittarius and shows Tiger's optimistic and confident heart wants to follow its own path. His moon is located close to the 4th house cusp at the bottom of his chart, which shows that family really is exceedingly important in Tiger's life. But this moon is also in opposition to Mars in Aries Gemini. Mars represents our drives and desires, including sexual desires. Oppositions are difficult aspects. This opposition makes it hard for Tiger to find a balance between a Mars that calls for action and experimentation and a moon that cares for the security of family but wants something more. Thank you.